Okay, we are now live. It is Sunday, October 30th, 4:33 p.m. Eastern Time. So basically, this is a free Tesla weekly live that I do every single week. But once a month, I'll do it for free. Most of the time, I do it for my members. So if you want to become a member and join us every Sunday, then you can do so by clicking on the join button after having subscribed to my channel. So for those that I don't know me, I'm Pierre Roberge. Yes, I might have an accent, or you might be having the accent, I'm not sure. So what I do here is that I do technical analysis for Tesla and the Dow Jones and the indices, basically. So yeah, so I do this live, and you can comment in the comment section, and I will periodically look at the comments. So let's start with Tesla right away. So Tesla closed at 228.52 last week, well, Friday, up $3.43. So Tesla is coming out a little bit of this, I was going to say a W channel. So that's a little bit of a tough one here, because the W, the resistance for the W really is right here at 227, at 229.77. Boom. That's the real W. That's the real W. So we are in the case of a double resistance. So we have that sometimes. The main resistance is right here at 226.52. So if you want to be really, really sure that Tesla is going up, then wait for 229.77. Friday we broke 226.52 right here, which was a significant event in itself. It's significant because it had not worked before October 10th. So it's a significant event. This is why I did this line, because we see here that it touched here, here. That's pretty much it. It touched in 3 places, but still, that's a decent resistance. So it touched there, and then looking at Tuesday, October 18th, it went a little bit higher. And then also on this day here, October 26th, it went a little bit higher, in terms of the top of the wick. And here also, yes, well, not yesterday, but last Thursday, the body of the candle was right smack on 229.77. So in the mind of people, those two numbers are important. Boom. So if we break 229.77, then we are no longer in this congestion zone slash congestion zone slash W pattern, and we should be moving up a little bit. Then we have a couple of resistance. We have one here. We have one here at 242.86. We have some other ones, at 255, at 259. So, there's a lot of hurdle for Tesla to break in order to come back to this big downward resistance. Big one right here. That is worth maybe 287. Hello, Tesla Terra. I know your real name, but I won't tell it. So this is the daily chart. Let's now look at the weekly chart, because this is what we tend to do. This is what we tend to do on this call on Sunday. We tend to look at the weekly chart to give a broader view. This is the daily chart. Things move a lot on the daily chart. If you are a more longer term investor, then you can only look at the weekly chart and just trade or invest on the weekly chart. So that's one way of doing it. So right now, let's look at the weekly chart. First, daily chart, no stochastic over 60 yet. And if you watch my channel, you will know how important this is. Not any stochastic, but a 21-day stochastic. So we still don't really have a bullish move yet for Tesla on the daily. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly, no, we still don't have a move at all. because stochastic is at 25, RSI is at 42, it's not, it's not at 50, MACD has not crossed over bullish, and the MI is also bearish. So even though Tesla has come down a lot and bounced on this, it's pretty clear, everybody can see this, it bounced on this, then this is still not yet considered a bullish move. So we don't have that weekly chart bullish trigger, which means that even if we move on the daily chart, we could come back down because we don't have the bigger wave of the weekly chart to give us a move. The stock market is like waves. You know, we have big waves, the monthly waves, the weekly waves, the daily waves, the hourly waves. You can have as many waves as you want, 15-minute wave, 5-minute wave. And first you need to decide when you invest and when you get in, which wave you want to ride. That's very important. And then if you enter on the daily wave, you should be ready to get out on the daily wave. If you enter on the weekly wave, then it's more of a weekly in and out kind of thing. So listen to my channel and then you'll see everything that I'm talking about. I'm just glossing over here because I'm just, because I'm trying to not ramble too much. So Tesla, there's nothing on the weekly, and let's look at the monthly because we are towards the end of the month. Nothing on the monthly also. So any move we see in Tesla is, I think we might have, yes, we have a 1 hour chart move. So on the 1 hour chart, yes, we have a little bit of a move here. So if you want to catch maybe a little bit of a swing, an hourly swing that can last an hour, 2 hours, several hours, maybe dozens of hours, you play with it. So the only buy signal we have is on the hourly chart. Good. We broke this downward resistance. We had stochastic over 60, which is good. And what did happen? Yes, there's a little bit of a move there. So there's profit right here. On this channel, I never tell you when to buy and when to sell. I tell you the signals that you should be looking at, and you decide when you buy and when to sell. Because this is a personal thing. This is a really personal thing. Buying and selling is really personal. I don't know how net worth you have if you are there to just catch a bit of a swing. So if you are there to catch a little bit of a swing, then maybe you are going to have to sell on Monday. And if you are going to suffer maybe a little bit of a pullback for a potential larger move, it's your choice if you want to keep that, if you want to do that. Because right now, and I'm rambling a lot, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to focus a little bit more. But basically, we don't know what is the trend right here. Maybe we can infer it here. So maybe this is the real trend that is going to happen right here. So if that is so, then once we break 229.77, we might be doing something like this. So that's a move you can catch if you want to. And this is where you could have caught it. Okay, so, but let me summarize. So Tesla, no buy signal on the daily that much. No buy signal on the weekly, no buy signal on the monthly. There's only a week, well, not a week, but there's a buy signal on the hourly. That's what we have so far. And technical analysis does not try to predict anything. We don't predict anything. We look, and when we see something we like, we jump in, and that's it. So there's no prediction. And anyway, nobody's good at predicting, because who could have predicted that Tesla would go from $1,200 on November 4th down to $600 pre-split in May? Nobody knew that. Nobody knew. And people that buy and hold, buying and holding is one way of doing it, but you suffer a 50% drop in your account. If you are willing to do that, you can do that. Or you can sell when we have enough evidence that there's a downtrend coming. And when there's a downtrend coming, you are not obliged to keep the stock. You can let the downtrend ride. And when the downtrend finishes, then you can get back in. That's it. Yes, it's timing the market, and yes, it's possible. It's possible in the sense that I cannot say when a buy signal will occur in the future. I don't know. But I can time it when I see it in front of me. That's the difference. Okay, so I'm done with Tesla. I'm going to go to the comments a little bit, and then we are going to look at Dow Jones, the VIX, Dow Jones, S&P 500, and NASDAQ to get a broader idea of the market. Okay, so Tesla Theta. I have 19 December 16, 266 CSPs from back Tesla. Cash secure puts from back when Tesla was at 295. Okay, let me see what's okay. That's approximately here on this line here. 295. Okay, no, it's approximately here. Okay. Does the chart show we may end over 266 in the next 2 weeks, given the trajectory? Okay, I like that you say trajectory. Okay, well, currently, let's look at the trajectory. So the trajectory is right here. So far, if it does not change, let's see. Where's your second week of December? Second week of December, let me see. So second week of December, let's say it's the 14th of December. So yes, according to the trajectory, if the trajectory holds, we should be above $300. So, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. Nobody knows the future. Nobody knows the future. We can only look at the current trend. If the current trend holds, yes, see, we should be around 266. We should be around 266 mid-November, if all else happens. But to be here in November, which is not what you would like, we have to break this resistance right here. And we have to break 242, which is kind of important. And we need to break 255. So I cannot give you a definite answer, but I can tell you that you can start being concerned. You can start being concerned when stochastic goes over 60. It's not there yet. So that's 1 point for you. You can get concerned. Well, if we break this upward resistance, this upward diagonal resistance, then that's I would start to get concerned with the stochastic over 60, and also at the same time it's going to break 242.86. So this is where I would get concerned if it goes over 242.86, let's say. But then nobody knows if it's going to happen or not. So that's part of the risk. So that's the only thing I can say. But yes, to answer your question, the trajectory says that, well, if we keep that trajectory, we should be at over $300 by mid-December. I'm sorry for that, because that trajectory was not clear a week ago, but now it looks like it's clear. So just keep an eye on this. Just keep an eye on this. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear this, Tesla Theta. I need Tesla to be at least 250 to be even. 250 by to a break even. 250 by 11. Okay. 250 by 1120. 2011 The trajectory says that yes, it could be there. It's possible. It's possible. So yes, it's possible here. Thank you, Pierre, for your analysis. I'm locked in a covered call situation when Tesla broke 205, 208 double support and slid to 198 last week. Okay. Okay. You mean here? I think 198. I think that's this one here. Not quite here. Okay. When it broke, you got in basically. Okay, you got your covered calls because you thought it was continuing to go down. Yeah. Could you please advise the level to watch to get out of it? So yeah, I don't know where your strike is for your covered calls, but if your strike is above 242.86, and this is not financial advice by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so everything I say is just rambling on my part. But if your covered calls are above 242.86, that would be a little bit better. And you can also look at the current trajectory, as I said to Tesla Theta. This is the trajectory. So depending on your strike and your expiration, if your strike and expiration are anywhere here, you should be fine. If it is somewhere here, then check this, and once we break this, then stochastic is probably going to be over 60. So that's the area of concern here, 242.86. So it's almost the same answer as what I gave to Tesla Theta. Thank you for your question. I like that. I like the interaction. Okay, why is this? Thank you. Another great. Well, I'm just trying the best. Palantir can go higher, more than $10 until earnings day. Yeah, I sometimes do Palantir. I used to do it. Let me just do briefly. Where is Palantir? Where is Palantir? Okay, it's here. Palantir can go higher than $10. Well, okay. Well, stochastic over 60 is already attained on the daily chart. Look for there's a big resistance at $9. So let's see if it breaks $9 first, because there's something important at $9. If it breaks $9, but the earnings are very soon, so it's hard to say in advance. But if it breaks 9, watch out. That's all I'm going to say. You have 225 puts for November. So lots of option traders. 225 puts for November 18th. November 18th, 225 puts. Well, you have a couple of things going for you. We don't have stochastic over 60 yet, so that's good for you. Srinivas, this is good for you. And what's good for you is that we haven't broken 229.77 yet. So you have two things going for you so far. What's not going for you is that we are making higher lows. But then if it does not break 229.77, the fact that it's doing higher lows is less of an issue, but the stock is going to have to make a decision soon, because this is the trend of the higher lows. This is the trend. It's trending up. So thank you for your question. I was hoping to get calls once it tests lower 200s and 180s. Okay, yeah, well, that's a support area. So there's legitimacy in wanting to buy off of support. It's fine. 212 strike. Okay. Okay, well, the 212 strike is already passed. So you have two things going for you is to have a, well, you need a reversal right here. You need a reversal right here, which is still possible because we don't have stochastic over 60. So it's still possible that it happens. I can only give you probabilities. I can only give you probabilities. And I'm working on a tool to help you assess the probability of a trade because it's all probabilities. Nothing is certain. And let's hope that it's going to work. Let's hope I get it out eventually. Is there a possibility to dip lower in the coming weeks? Yes, there's a possibility, as I said, because we don't have stochastic over 60. So once we don't get that, any move up is not really significant. So this move up last Friday is not considered significant yet. And for a good reason, because we still have a resistance at 229.77 and we are still part of a congestion zone. So there is a chance that we come down. There is a chance that we come down. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go look. Let's go take a look at the VIX. Okay, so as Tesla is bouncing a little bit, we have the VIX that's coming down. We have the VIX that's coming down. So that tends to be good for the stock market if we want it to go up. So VIX coming down here is good for the stock market to go up, but some of you guys don't want the stock market to go that up too much. So we need to take that into consideration. This is why we are looking at the VIX also. We are looking at the VIX to give us a broader view of where the market is heading. And yes, Tesla has been underperforming compared to the Dow Jones and everything. So that's another variable that we need to keep in our heads. Right now, Tesla is underperforming compared to the Dow Jones and everything. So even though the VIX is coming down, the VIX is having an impact on Dow Jones, S&P and everything, but less of an impact on Tesla because people are just scared because Tesla went down like this and people are just scared. And they don't know if Elon is going to sell some more stocks, even though he took possession of Twitter. So I guess the deal has gone through. So the probability of him selling more shares maybe has diminished a little bit. Who knows? But there's a possibility that he buys some shares of Tesla back because he has some cash on hand. He has said that. He said, well, I have 6-7 billion in cash that he took out. And if those shares are not useful for him for Twitter, then he's going to put them back in Tesla. And if he does that, will that influence Tesla a whole lot? Well, I did the calculation, I think, on Friday. But, you know, we have, on average, 83 million shares of Tesla that are being bought every day. And with 5 or 6 billion, I think he could buy, you know, half a day of shares. So, yes, it will have an impact on the stock, but it could be just a momentary impact. But in terms of the psychological impact, Elon is buying back shares in Tesla, depending on how the media is playing it. Maybe this can have a bigger impact, not because of the financial aspect of the transaction. You know, he bought shares and the price went up, but because of the psychological aspect that can come after that. And the psychological aspect is almost always bigger than the facts. You know, the facts that he bought a certain amount of shares, yes, it propped the stock back up, but depending on the spin in the media, then that can have a bigger impact. Briefly, can you teach us why traders often say gaps always fill? Ben, because how can I put it? This is the case of too little, a little knowledge is more dangerous than the full knowledge. So gaps can be filled, but not all gaps are filled. I can show you, if I had times, I could show you gaps that were never filled right here because the stock was so strong. A gap means that a a runaway gap does not have to be filled. A runaway gap is when the stock goes so well, the company goes so well that the price just goes. So at the start of a big move, at the start of a big move up, this is a runaway gap, and it does not need to be filled because the company is doing so well that it is never going to get back at those prices. Like Tesla is never going back at $40. I would be very, very surprised. But we sometimes have gaps after after a move has already started. So if we look at this here, this was a downward resistance. The stock tried to break it. They broke it, and then it started to move up, and then we had a gap here. So the stock had already gone from 214 after split to 300, and then there was a gap. So this was not a runaway gap. The stock had already gone up half of what it really went for, and at the midpoint it did a gap. So that was a little bit late. So technically this is not a runaway gap, and then it got filled. So yeah, a runaway gap does not need to get filled. So these little gaps here, I would not call them runaway gaps because we are in a downtrend. It's not like we are launching and breaking some major resistance here. If we had had a gap here, then it could have been a runaway gap because it's starting into a new trend. But here, no, it's not a runaway gap. Here either, that's a small gap, and it got filled eventually. So I hope that this helps. Okay. Let me. So that's that for the runaway gap. There's stock of Tesla going to 300. Okay, then down to 150. Yeah, I don't understand how people can make predictions like that. $300. Yeah, well, okay. Based on what? Based on the stock market is not behaving. The price of a stock is not behaving like a based on the spreadsheet that a YouTuber does, or an economist does, or an analyst does. They are doing a theoretical price of a stock, and that theoretical price is always moving, in a straight line or an S curve. So that's the theoretical price. But if you look at the stock market a little bit, you'll see that nothing looks like the theoretical price the stock should have. Nothing. So because the stock market is influenced more by what I call psychological factors: fear, doubt, uncertainty, FUD, war. There's a war in Ukraine. Yes. What should be the impact on Tesla? I don't know. There's inflation. What is the impact? I don't know. So there is so many unknowns around the theoretical price of a stock that it is impossible to predict what should be the price of the stock at a certain point in time. It's just impossible. So when people try to predict, they are going to fail. We fail less because we don't predict. We are just trying to recognize a break in resistance to indicate the start of a new trend. That's it. So we have less failures, and I would call failure, and I don't want to offend anybody. It's hard not to offend people nowadays, but to me, holding a stock from 1200 to 600 is a failure in itself. Yes, it can go back up, but why not sell? Because selling does not cost much. It's free to sell, and it's almost free to buy. There's a $10 commission. So on this channel, this is what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to convey my opinion. So we don't need to agree. I'm trying to convey my opinion. That's it. And well, okay. VIX is broken, but no, I don't agree, because VIX went down from a high of from its high October 12th. Dow Jones started to go up October 12th. So it's perfect. So it's the opposite move, and that's what we know about the VIX, but it's perfectly opposite of the VIX. So the VIX is showing exactly the same thing as the Dow Jones is showing. So no, the VIX is not broken. Okay, let me go to Dow Jones, and then I'm going to come back to the comments. To the VIX first. So okay, so VIX is coming down, so we need to keep that into consideration. So the trend in the VIX is coming down, so this should be propping up the stock market. If it stops coming down, then the stock market will cool down a little bit. We have a support at 2382. At 2382 we have support, so maybe we are going to stop that. So if we stop there, then there's just a little bit of a few more days maybe of going down before we need to reassess if the trend is holding by continuing, or if the trend is stopping. So I could easily see a few more days of the stock market moving up and then slowing down a little bit. I could see that. I might be wrong. And don't act on this prediction. This is just fun. But we just need to look at 2382 and see how it behaves around there, and then and then use that information on the trades that we want to do. Let me quickly go on the weekly. So weekly chart of the VIX, we don't have stochastic over 60, so we should be going down. And monthly, we don't have stochastic over 60 also, so we should be going down. So I see an overall trend so far that the VIX should be continuing to go down, because not only on the daily there's a trend there, but the trend is also on the weekly. So it means that the trend can last longer than just daily wise. It can be weekly wise, because the weekly is agreeing, and also monthly wise, unless it reverses. If it reverses, then we change, but right now this is what this is. Let me go to Dow Jones. So Dow Jones is, it had a nice move up. It's following our downward channel. It's following it pretty good, I would say. And now we have a nice move up, but we are coming very close to this downward resistance. So we need to keep our eyes really peeled, because we could either reverse or continue, basically, or go sideways. But we should, so this is an area of interest. What is going to happen here? If it does something like this, then we might be getting a move down. So we need to watch that, but we are very close to this downward resistance. S&P 500 has a longer way to go before we have that. So and this is the part I'm not sure about, because Dow Jones is almost ready to get to the resistance and S&P is not, so they are not in sync. So I don't know what is going to happen, and nobody knows, but it's going to be interesting to see. And let me just go on the monthly on Dow Jones a little bit. Monthly Dow Jones, we don't have a bullish stochastic on the monthly, so this is not super good news. See, yeah, maybe I'm just going to include this one here. So Dow Jones, you know, monthly it's not showing bullishness. It's showing bullishness on the weekly and also on the daily, of course. So monthly it's not there. So weekly it's there because, you know, it has been a few weeks of this move up, but we are close to a downward resistance. So okay, this is not change what I'm saying. Let's just look at this downward resistance and it is going to answer us. S&P on the weekly it's not bullish, on the monthly it's not bullish, on the daily, oops, sorry, on the daily it is bullish. So so this means that daily bullish, weekly not, monthly not. So the move should last days and not weeks. When we get the weekly bullish, then we might revisit this, but right now it's more of a daily move and not a weekly move. And let's finish with Nasdaq. I'm going to erase my drawings. So Nasdaq, like Dow Jones, close to this resistance. So daily it's bullish, so we have some place to move up. Weekly not bullish, monthly not bullish. So maybe, and this is not a prediction, so maybe, and I'm willing to change my opinion next Sunday. Maybe we are going to cave in on this resistance, because so far we don't have enough of a move to indicate that weekly and monthly we are bullish. And it pretty much fits this, you know, we are in a downtrend. We are in a downtrend in terms of the indices. We are in a downtrend. So this is not usually the time to buy. You can buy if you want to catch a little bit of a move up, but then when the downtrend continues, you don't want to be caught in the wrong place. So in a downtrend, it's more dangerous to go long. See here, it was hard to go long here. It didn't last a long time. Here it was a little bit easier. Here, not much profit to get there. Here, that's nice, but follow the trend. So if you want to be more sure, you follow the trend, and this is a downtrend, so we should be looking at shorting. Okay, let me go in the comments, and then we are going to close this live. So, okay, Tesla closed above. Yes, yeah, this is a fact. You are stating a fact. It closed above. Well, I'm gonna take your word for it. It closed above the 20-day simple moving average on the hammer candle. Sure, that's one indicator that is giving you bullish signals. True. Stochastic is not over 60 and 229.77 is not broken yet. So these are two negatives. So, but yeah, you can act. So what is important is to act on fact. So my facts are stochastic over 60 and this. So these are my facts. I chose those facts. You can choose a 15-day moving average. You can choose a 25-day moving average. You can choose an exponential moving average. And all of that stuff works. All of that stuff works. It behaves just a little bit differently, but it basically works. And you just have to choose what are your facts. What is dangerous is buying based on a hunch. That's dangerous because our hunches are not really good. But mathematical formulas like the moving averages, the stochastic and everything are facts. So yes, I am, well, I don't want to be condescending, but I'm proud of you that you are looking at facts. So Elliott wave shows a huge drop in 2023. Interesting. I like this Elliott wave guy also. I don't know if it's the one with the cowboy hat, but I like him. I laugh at the certainty of their conviction, but it seems to play out. Yeah, well, yeah. Broken clock is right twice a day, so maybe there's that. And also, yeah, I think Tesla is a great company, so I think Tesla stock is going to move up eventually. I don't know when, I don't know how far, and then I don't know by how much it's going to come down if it comes down. The Fed will determine the course of Tesla. Yes, it has an impact. It definitely has an impact. CPI and yes, those things have an impact. But you cannot say that these are the only impacts, because it's not true. It's not true. There is many impacts. When we heard that Elon started to sell, that had an impact, both financially and also psychologically. So yes, many things are impacting the stock price, inflation, the war, and everything. And if you try to look at all of the impacts to predict, it's very hard. You need to understand a whole lot. Whereas here in technical analysis, we only look at the moves and the sum, the sum of all these impacts. And the sum of all these impacts is embedded in the stock price. So this is why we only look at the stock price. I talk a little bit about some bit of news just for fun, but basically the stock price, everything boils down to the stock price, and it's hard to argue against that. The stock price is the end all be all. Okay, so thank you very much, people. Let me just do this one here. Tesla, then impulse wave down, maybe, hopefully not by March was my counting. Sure. Well, okay, let me just say this one thing before I close. I don't know. Well, I have never done Elliott waves and that stuff. But what I can tell you is that, and you talk about 240, there's a downward resistance right here. So it's perfectly normal if we go there and then move down. And if we do it, depending on when we do it, it could be 285, it could be 250, it could be 242. So your scenario, I can see it here. I can see it here. And you talk March. Okay, you're talking March here. So yeah, I don't disagree, but I'm gonna wait for it to happen before I act. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me, and thank you for commenting and asking questions, so that made it more interactive. So if you want to look at my Tesla and Dow Jones and the indices analysis every single day, you can just subscribe to my channel. And if you want to do this, with me every Sunday, then you need to become a member. This time was free. Once a month I do it free, but all of the other times are for my members only. So have a great rest of the weekend, and I'm going to tell you à la prochaine.